The number system. What is it? How do you use it? And how can it actually help you become a better guitar player? Coming up. Oh, by the way, hey, if you're new here, thank you so much for stopping by. I really do appreciate it. My name's Ben. I'm a private guitar teacher. I've been playing guitar. I've been playing music most of my life for a long time. I'm a private guitar teacher. My passion is to actually help musicians of all levels just by giving them some practical tips and useful advice, and hopefully try to break things down a little easier to make their life just a little easier. So if you're new here, consider subscribing to this channel. That way you can see more content like this. Don't forget to turn the notifications on because you don't want to miss anything I post. I've also got my social media links down in the description of this video. So let's get into the video. All right, so what is the number system? Well, officially I think it's called the Nashville number system, I think is what a purist would call it, but it's the number system. And what it is really it's just a way to kind of simplify language and universalize some terms. It's actually a lot easier to understand than you might think. It's not some crazy Da Vinci Code that you have to crack and have a degree in metaphysics to understand. It's nothing like that. It's actually very easy. And to be honest with you, in recording this video, I've done a few takes now, and actually recording this video, I've actually realized just how simple it actually is. But if you don't know what it is, it can be a little intimidating. So I remember the first time I ever heard someone talk about it. I was probably 16, 17 years old. I had only been playing guitar for a handful of years. And I had just started going to a church, and I was helping out on the worship team at a church by playing bass and sometimes guitar and stuff. And the guy said, "Oh, the progression we're playing is it's a 1-4-5 chord progression." And I had no idea what he was talking about. He may as well have been speaking in Chinese. Like I said, it's to simplify and universalize things. So to truly understand it, you kind of have to understand what a scale is, and then how you determine what chords are associated with a scale. Now, this is the weird part, because it's the same no matter what key you're in. It's always going to be the same. Music is, and you're going to find this as you go on, music is full of like patterns and math, and it's a lot of there's a lot of, like I said, a lot of patterns. So a scale, the definition of a scale is just 7 notes that just happen to sound good together. That's kind of the informal, loose definition of a scale. It's just 7 notes to sound good together. A chord is going to be, again, like a fundamental definition of a chord is going to be 3 notes that sound good played together. So a scale is 7 notes played, in sequence, played one after the other. A chord is going to be 3 of those notes played at the same time. You can get into 4-note chords and so on and so on. But anyway, this is the basics, fundamental foundation here. So if you take a major scale, the pattern for a major scale is going to be a whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, half step. That pattern will give you a major scale wherever you start. If you start in G and you go a whole step, half step, whole step, half step, that will give you a G major scale. If you start in C and you play from C, you play a whole step, a half step, so on and so on and so on. That will give you a C major scale. Now, within the scale that you just played, there's going to be chords associated with it. So the easy way to find the chords is you just, wherever you take every note, remember there's 7 notes. So you take the first note, which would be like for the scale C, the C major scale, the first note would be C. So you take every other note from C, and that's going to give you your triad for that note, or that chord. So C, you're going to have C, skip D, go to E, skip F, go to G. So for your first note in the C major scale, the chord associated with it is C, E, and G. It's C major. You go to the next note in the C major scale. That's going to be D. You take every other note. So you take D, skip E, go to F, skip G, go to A. That's going to give you your D minor. Okay? You do that all the way through, all 7 notes of the major scale. You go through it and you figure out every chord along with it. And you'll find, like for example, in C, in the C major scale, the chords are going to be C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor, and then B diminished. And by the way, a diminished chord, no one ever uses diminished chords. They're just passing chords. They're not really used very often in most, like your average contemporary modern music. It's not something that's ever used. So we won't really focus on that. Most people don't. It's there. It's a funky chord, but nobody ever uses it. So anyways, you probably already heard we're already kind of talking in numbers. Like I said, a scale is 7 notes, right? A chord is 3 notes from those 7 notes. So you pick 3 of those notes, that's going to give you the chord. There's a pattern to that. So within our scale, we're going to have 7 chords associated with that scale, with that major scale. So that's going to be all of our chords. So now we say for the key of C major, we're going to have C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor, B diminished. That's the key of C major. Those are all the chords associated with it. So we have 7 notes for a scale, 7 chords for a key. You kind of see where this is going. So way back when I was a young lad and somebody said this song is in the key of G, I think, and the chord progression is 1, 4, 5. What he was saying is you're going to play from the key of G, you're going to play the first chord, the 4th chord, and the 5th chord. That's the chord progression. And in the key of G, that would be G, C, D. So that's the 1, 4, 5. A little quick rule of thumb when you're talking in major scales, major keys, the 1, the 4, and the 5 are always going to be major. The 2, the 3, and the 6 are always going to be minor, and your 7 is always going to be diminished / useless. So remember that. 1, 4, 5 is major, 2, 3, 6 is minor. That's just kind of the rule of thumb. So when somebody says we're playing in the key of C and we're going to play a 6, 4, 5 chord progression, what he's saying is we're starting in C and you're going to play the 6th chord of C, you're going to play the 4th chord of C, and play the 5th chord of C, which would be A minor, F, G. And you're going to play those chords in that order because that's what they're saying. So this really helps you when you're changing a key. So like I said, it's always going to be the same. The pattern for a scale is always going to be the same. The chord structure for a scale is always going to be the same no matter what key you're in or what scale you're playing. It's always going to be the same. It's just the notes, the specific notes themselves might change, but the formula and the pattern to get those notes and those chords stays the same. So it's the same idea with the number system. Like I said, whatever scale that's based off of, you're just going to be playing the chords associated with that in the order that they fall under. So if you just remember 1, 4, 5 major, 2, 3, 6 minor, 7 diminished. You could play in any key anywhere as long as you understand the fundamentals there. If somebody says B flat, we're playing in the key of B flat. You find B flat. Right? And so somebody says we're playing a 6, 4, 5 chord progression in B flat. What am I going to play? I'm going to play 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to be playing that, G, E flat, and F. So that's kind of just a basic rundown of the number system, of the Nashville number system. I really hope you found this video to be useful. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to this channel if you want to see more content just like this. Like I said, I've got my social media down in the description. I look forward to seeing you there. Let's talk in the comments. I always love getting the comments and talking to people. But anyway, we'll see you next time.